The diagram represents the inside turf of the hobby horse racetrack. It is made up of a rectangle of dimensions 403 meters by 256 meters and two semicircular ends. Using pi as 3.14, calculate the distance around the turf. And so the distance around the turf is given by the following. We have pi r plus 403 meters plus pi r plus 403 meters. And why is that? That's the case because let's start off with pi r. This pi r, it represents the distance of this semicircular end right there. That's what pi r is there for. Okay, so the formula for this curved portion right here is pi r. Okay, next we have this distance right here, which is 403 meters. Okay, and then we have, so that's 403 meters. And then we have another semicircular end as well. So another curved portion. And the curved portion right here is given by the formula pi r. Okay, and then we have 403 meters, which is to represent this particular length right here. That's the length of this particular, that's the distance of this particular length right here, 403 meters, okay? So we have pi r plus 403 meters plus pi r plus 403 meters. And so that's how we're gonna get the distance around the turf. But the question is, what is r, right? We already know what is pi. Pi is 3.14, but what is r? Well, r is the radius. Now, the diameter is 256 meters. That's the diameter, but what is the radius? The radius is half of the diameter. So the radius is going to be 256 divided by 2. And so the radius is going to be 128. That is the radius. So pi r, pi is the radius. So I'm sorry, pi is 3.14 and r, which is 128, that's the radius. So it's going to be 3.14 times 128. So pi, which is 3.14, and the radius, which is 128, we have to multiply that. And we have to add it with 403 meters. And we have to add it by 3.14 times 128 plus 403. And so let's multiply 3.14 times 128 gives us 401.92 meters. We bring down the 403 meters plus 3.14 times 128. That gives us 401.92 meters plus 403 meters. Now we have to add this, and when we add them all together, we get 1,609.84 meters. And so that means that the distance around the turf is going to be 1,609.84 meters, and that's the answer for the distance around the turf, which is basically the circumference of the turf. Next, our goal is to calculate the area of the turf. Now, if we're looking at the area of the turf, what we have is we have a rectangle and we have two semicircles. All right. So let's figure out what is the area of the rectangle first. The area of the rectangle is going to be 256 multiplied by 403 meters. And so we have to do 256 multiplied by 403, which gives us 103,168 meters squared. So again, it gives us 103,168 meters squared. That's the area of the rectangle. Now we need to calculate the area of the two semicircles. Now it's important to note that if you have two semicircles, so we have, this is one semicircle right there, okay? And this is another semicircle right there, okay? So if you have two semicircles, that's essentially one complete circle, all right? So, because if we have a semicircle right there, all right? And if we have another semicircle right there, what we basically have is one complete circle, all right? And so that means that if we want to figure out the area of two semicircles, we're just going to use the area of a circle one time, which is pi r squared. And so that's how we're going to get the area of the two semicircles, because it's essentially the area of one complete circle, which is pi r squared. And pi is 3.14 and the radius is 128. So it's going to be 128 squared. So 3.14 multiplied by 128 squared. And when we do that, when we multiply this out together, so it's basically 128 squared and then we multiply that by 3.14, and that's going to give us this particular number, 51445.76 meters squared. And so what we have to do in order to figure out the area of the turf, we have to add these two areas together. So we're going to add the area of the rectangle, and we're going to add the area of the two semicircles. And when we add them together, we get 103,168 meters plus this number, 51445.76. And that's basically 51,445.76. And that's when we add those two together, we get 154,613.76 meters squared. And that's basically 154,613.76 meters squared. And that's going to be the area of the turf. And so that means that the answer for the area of the turf is indeed 154,613.76 meters squared. And that's our answer for this question.